All right, so today's project is to install a backup camera in a 2012 S60. Doesn't have a backup camera, always wanted one. I've been searching forever and found on AliExpress this product here. And it comes complete with a camera and everything you need to retrofit your non-backup camera Volvo 2012. I think it actually goes up to 2015. And then if you have later than 2015, where I think actually backup cameras were standard at a certain point, then you can they have other models. So anyway, I'll put a link to where to get this. We're going to install it, and Lloyd's going to help. I bought the product on AliExpress and it took a long time to ship. They ship from China. It definitely takes a long time. I looked all over the internet for a domestic website that had it, like eBay and Amazon, but nothing had it except this AliExpress. So I'll put a link to the actual model I got. And then when it came in, I wasn't thrilled with the actual look of the camera that screws to the back of the car. I way preferred a model that was available on Amazon that was more closer to the OEM look of the backup camera for the Volvo. So I'll put a link to that backup camera that I purchased. So that backup camera was $49 extra, and it's really not necessary. The one that came in the kit is fine, but you know, I did spend a little bit extra to get the better look. The links are right here. So overall, this is a $250 project. If you use the camera that comes with it, you can do the whole project for about $200. All right, so first we're going to do a little prying here. Prying there. Didn't take them long. We're so far about 1 minute in. Wow, okay, it's out. All right.
Push this little button here.
Yeah, gotcha.
To the side. Step on it in the back. Torque screws too here.
Torque. I'll get you the torque. We're going to take out these two torque screws with a 2.0 screwdriver. Four more screws, same screwdriver.
Next thing to do, we got to get to the screen over here. So we're going to take off this frame from the top out, because over here it's kind of blocked by this plastic piece that's not really easily removable. Gently with a pry tool, snap this out. Yep, there it comes. Let's see if it'll come out. Here comes another one. Boop. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if I can take it off the top. Break the car. There we go. It's out.
Out. Nice. All right, it's out.
We have 4 2.0 torque screws to take out the screen.
All right, 4 screws are out. They're a little bit bigger head than the other screws, so keep them separate. And here it is.
1, 2. Couldn't be easier.
All right, looked easy enough.
Lots of additional ports here. Interesting.
On.
Okay, it's been about a month now since we've talked last on this installation. We went ahead and got another screen set so we can experiment and try to get this thing open. The instructions from the overseas Chinese vendor show that you're supposed to open up some screws of some sort here, which correspond to these spots over here. And so we went ahead and bought every type of screwdriver that would get into this hex-looking opening that's inside of these holes. We even went as far as to cut one of these things open to see how it looks inside. So none of these tools that we could find anywhere work. We bought them all, nothing works. So what we've done is, I'll show you an example on one of them. The goal is to get this black trim off. The way to get it off, to get this thing open, is, there we go. It takes a little bit of prying, but you have to get a screwdriver and pry this notch open, this notch open over here. There's two on this side, and underneath the foam, you're going to find another one buried over here. There's one here and one over here. So on our other unit here, you'll see that those same spots here, you'll see they're bent open. Bent open.
Let me get a good shot of
Okay.
it bent open.
Bent open.
Okay.
And they're all four are bent open. And then you can take a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and pry this front case open, the black part out, slowly all the way around. And it will, with some force, it will come out. And then you get this.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. This was a lot of effort to get to this level.
Hardest part of the job so far.
Okay, we now have our what's called a daughter board. We installed these two cables based on the instructions here
With the kit.
that came with the kit. Okay, so these things are going to connect to other cables further down the line. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be able to do is we're going to put this board on here by taking out these three screws and with using the T9 screwdriver that we got in our monster kits here. And then we're going to install these posts and additional screws. So I'm going to take off 1, 2, 3 screws and then replace them with the posts and then a new screw on top. Let's see what happens. Looks like a different size. Yes, it is. Okay. Different kind of screw.
Yeah. T9 though, right?
T9 though. Let's see what happens. One of the screws that we took out over here is actually a little different. You'll see right here, it's a different kind of screw. That's okay because this will fit in the opening. As you can see right over here, here's the first one that we just put in. It does thread in, although it's a different kind of screw than the other two that are coming out of the other two openings.
All right, we'll put one in while we're here.
So now I have, I'm going to take this and our 4mm hex from our monster kit that we just bought by accident that we didn't really need, but is very handy. Just going to thread it in there. Post number 2, and sorry for my arm going through, and thread in post number 3.
And circuit board on top of that.
And then that gives the mounting surface for what's called a daughter board. Okay, that's in. So now we're going to take this board here and it's going to mount like this. It'll take me a few moments to move these plugs. What's going to happen is we're going to remove this plug carefully and remove this one carefully. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Okay, so here we are again. The way this ribbon connector comes off, it's pretty simple. You can see this, the darker bar there. This will just flip upwards. See the little hinge there, and it'll come loose.
I sure did.
Okay, and the same thing over here. You're just gonna swap them out. This one's gonna come up, and it's gonna go right in just like the other one came out. And then this one is gonna go into here. This is going to slop right into there. So I'm going to mount this thing real quick. I'll do the first one right now. This just sits right in here. And it should just get right in there. Nope, just in. Here we go. And then this is just going to sit like this. And then I'll put the other one in a moment. I'm going to now screw these screws.
Go ahead.
There they are. These are Phillips head screws that will go into here. So I'm going to get a Phillips screwdriver and I'm going to screw that in. I think I'm ready.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so this with the Phillips screwdriver here, a little small one. Just going to thread that in. Take the screw number 2, put it on this side, hold it in place. See if I get it in the first try. Look at that. Okay, and the third one. right here in the middle. Okay, this appears to be connected. Okay, and I'm going to wire this over here, putting that right back in, and then I'll flip the little lever down when it's all the way fully inserted. You can tell that it's inserted properly when it doesn't slide out by itself, and it's kind of snug in there, so it's good. It should be good. Okay.
Snapped closed?
It kind of pushes down, okay. And this doesn't fall out easily, so you know it's in place. Okay, so now that these things are inserted, probably going to come out these openings here a little bit. Okay, now we want to talk about dip switches, which are right over here. We're going to talk about that next.
Okay, they were on the instructions.
Okay, dip switches. The chart here shows the V60, which is the one we're working on. Everything is on the off position. Let's try that first and see what happens. Right now, 2 of them are on, number 1 and 2, with a sharp tool, 1 and 2. Now everything shows off along the whole row.
You're on.
Okay, so we're going to now close this baby up. So while we're doing so, you got to make a special note that these cords come out right where these things, these metal pieces are, these things. So we got to make sure you push them over so that when you're closing it, they don't pierce any wires. It's very important that you watch for that detail. I don't know if you can see that in the camera.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, good, good. And so we're just going to push it together, press fit it in gently all the way around. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's going nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to take some time and bend these things back in some manner. I'm not sure how to do that yet, but we're going to try right now without piercing my arm in some way.
You're on.
Okay, after it's been press fit in as tightly as you can, being extra careful about these wires, like I mentioned before, that they're not going to get pierced. Okay, what I just did is I took on a hard flat surface, like something soft, and tapped those metal things back in a little bit. I just did the first one. I'm going to demonstrate one for you right now without damaging this thing.
We have a total of 4 to do.
There's 4 of these to do, so you press it in all the way where it's supposed to be. Just a couple little taps. There, that's in.
Oh, nice.
Let's try another one. Now this one's underneath the rubber again, holding it in because it's an extra force. Let's see what happens here. That seems to be in. Let's try this one over here. Where is it? There it is. Pressing down so it goes into, has a place to go. That looks good.
Good.
Okay, this appears to be
Back in
ready to
place.
go back together again, and let's throw it in the car real fast, see what happens. All right, with a T20 screwdriver, we put this back in with the camera installed. We chose this particular camera because it fits nicely. And so this has been reinstalled with the T20 screwdrivers all the way through. So the wire, which is now on this side underneath this trim cover, we have put it back on already, but these are trim pieces that we snap off with the proper trim tools, all common things that anybody can do. The wire is then formed down in here, down in the side of this track. You can see the wire in here, it's all mixed in.
Taped up nicely.
Taped up. Be careful of these little tips, they're very fragile and they break easily, so be very gentle there. The wire is then taken across underneath here to where you can see the wire coming across there. We're just going around towards the front of the car. So then, here we are on this side. The wire's now pushed through underneath in here. The wire's now coming down in here. It's in a hole somewhere back there. The wire is now underneath this trim. You can see it right there.
Oh, let me get a better shot of that.
There it is. The trim just snaps up. This just pulls out very easily. No big deal. Pushing it across towards the front of the car. Here it is again, trim removed. The wire comes across. It's deep under the carpet here. I try to hide it as best I can. Then coming up and around, and then it takes it through towards the center of the dashboard to be put onto into the back of the radio head screen. Alrighty. So the trim just slides right back on. It's rubber. It's easy to maneuver. It just snaps in a lot easier than I make it seem to be. But it goes right in, and I'm not going right in. But it should go in. There we go. Freeze. Okay. Then you have the molding here. These click into their respective holes. There's a guide hole kind of right over here. This has to also kind of go underneath this little clip. Has to go underneath so it aligns properly. And it should go right back into exactly where it came back out. And snap in. And that's how the trim there goes back on. Same thing in the back. This part is done in the front. Back, just the same way. You can see the trim here close up. How it just kind of just pushes back in. Pretty simple. This will just snap back down again. And the door. Good color interior for the record.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can snap this back while we're talking. Gently. This one's been broken a little bit from past people playing with it, but it should snap back in with the proper play here and kind of look good. There, you got it. There. Okay, since we were last working on this project, we have we started to put the camera and everything back into the car. We wired in through the sides of the car, the RCA jacks, and an extra wire to turn the signal off and on the camera. We wired it back, as anybody can do, through the sides of the camera, through the sides of the car, up to the trunk, to the back, to where the license plate is. That's all common things. The core things we're going to talk about here is what we did up here. Okay, so we have an RCA jack run from the trunk to the camera. It's tight. There's not much room here, so we made it really tight there. And one wire coming from the trunk that will go to the pink wire that currently says CCD 12 volt. I don't know if you can read that upside down. CCD 12 volt. That's going to be taped up securely. And then with these things connected and the wires run so that the camera, that the screen can set back in here, extra wire will come out the side, come along in here, and we're going to store it down in this little cavity down in here. That's where all the stuff, and we're going to pack it tight so it doesn't rattle.
Somebody can interpret this as purple or pink.
Okay, whatever color that is. These will be taped up. A lot of extra stuff that we don't need, including that other wiring harness that I just threw away somewhere. This one. This is not needed for this particular installation, so we're just going to leave it off.
And this is just open.
Yeah, we're going to tape that up so nothing is exposed. So this is all going to be tightened up, and then we're going to pack it in, and we'll show another video when it's ready to be closed up.
Okay, while the other guy, Lloyd, was wiring in the front, I was wiring in the back and put in this right into here, this backup camera. In order to do that, I removed this entire piece. We probably should have been taking videos along the way with the T25 screwdriver, removing all these screws, pulled out the old light that was identical to this light over here, and put this in here. Now, on the back of this camera, there's a black and a red, and I wired them into where this was getting its power. It's pretty simple. I wish I had taken a video, but I didn't.
Drilled out the opening.
For the actual video part, there's two colors that come out: the yellow and the red. The red is wired up to that what was in the front. What was in the front, that pink or purple wire, is run all the way to the back here, and it goes to the red here, all the way through. And the other one is yellow to yellow, plugged in. We ran them through, fished them through, and now we're going to close up this whole back area after I secure it so it doesn't rattle.
We have all the wiring completed, tightened up. There's a little bundle of wire right over here. That's going to go down in this cavity here in a few moments. What we're going to do is make sure the wires here in this area are flat, because it's going to sit right over here at some point. So once all the wires are formed so that all the plugs are coming into the back center section, you can now sit the screen back where it's supposed to go. you'll notice that this is tight. There's a little cavity for these things to sit in, a little recess. But when you tighten it down, these things will sit flat in this area right over here. I'm going to take a few minutes and tighten the screw down. Okay, I'm going to remove. Stop it. I don't have the screws. Okay, you'll notice that these wires are as flat as possible. You'll see it's very important to get them as flat as possible so that when the screen is seated, it'll fit behind the grill that we're going to be putting back on. Okay, 4 screws are now in. The screen is sitting flush. You'll see the wires are flat in this area. Next thing is going to make this thing so it doesn't rattle, this little wiring chunk. Closing this thing up, making it look a little neater, putting some kind of fabric around it. These wires aren't going to get hot or anything. It's just to keep it from rattling around inside the dashboard. I have a little zip tie here that I'm just going to pop on here. And I need a cutter.
Go.
Okay, here is the little bundle that I've done, a little joy of wires. We're going to put it right down here. It's kind of snug right down there. It looks pretty good. I formed the wires that we've done around where the vent is going to be going. You'll see over here, there's a vent assembly that's going to fit in here. So we're going to try and put this thing in a few minutes and close this baby up. Okay, we took a step back because this would not fit in with this trim here. So we took off 4 screws here, 2 screws here, and there are already 2 screws that we removed from the back here. All torques the same, 2.5. 2 in the back, 2 here, and 4 here to loosen this, to allow this piece of trim to go on. You got to finagle a little bit to try and get it in here without damaging. There's a little pin on the bottom, but if you rotate it the way you just saw, up and around, I think we can get it in. Let's give it a shot. It's got to force it a little bit, but I think we can do it.
Nice.
Let's push this upwards. Okay, 4 screws to finish this thing up along the top row here. If I can get this driver to work.
Started them all.
I already pre-put them in. You got to be really careful you don't drop them, because if you drop them, they can go into the vents and then you're going to cause a rattle, and nobody likes that in their car. Okay, we got 4 of these. Almost in, then the last one in this top row. Okay. And then we have these 2 here. One I've already pre-threaded, and they're really long, fine threaded screws. We already mostly threaded them in, so just tightening them to show you where they are. We have 2 more to go that are behind here. We'll get them right now. In the back, 2 225s, one right over here, and one right over here where my tool is. It's kind of hard to get to with a regular screwdriver, so we have a little mini angled ratchet. So you hear it ratcheting away. This is the first of the 2 screws that we're putting in the back.
Filming from the driver's side.
Yes, and I'm on the passenger side, and we're going to switch in a moment to put the other one in. There it goes. Nice.
All right, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, we're now on the passenger side.
I'm on the driver's side.
Reaching around to get the screw. See if I can get a good angle of, so you can see where that screw is.
You have to use an angled kind of tool because there's not much space here, so we're using a tool that looks like this. The bolt is now tight.
All right.
Okay, the final step for the reassembly is a simple reconnection of this little vent here. That should snap right in from the bottom first. Somehow it snaps right in, and it goes like that. This dashboard is now back together again. You want to see what happens when we turn the car on? Let's see.
Let's do that.
Let me close the trunk. Trunk is now closed. Let's see what it does.
Ta-da-da.
Ta-da! There's my car in the garage.
All right, turn the wheel.
That's the tires on my driveway, that sound.
Wonderful.
Successful.
Backup camera. It's been a decade without a backup camera, and finally we got it. Thank you, Lloyd.